in general have really stepped it up over the last couple of years, and well, Firefly is amongst them. Game number 1 in this best of 3 series. We find ourselves on Hecate, and in the top right hand corner, representing the Rebellion, we have ByuN.
And spawning over in the bottom left-hand side, representing onside, it is Firefly. I think this should line up to be, or I hope for Firefly's sake, that he plays even remotely as well as he does over in that Chinese region. I know this is his first international tournament, and already ByuN sending an SCV out across the map. This has been a true favorite for Terran so far against Protoss players, where they've just been all about sending the SCV in a weird pattern to do just this. You avoid the probe of your opponent, and then your opponent thinks you're not scouting at all, being a bit greedy. Oh my god, okay, I thought he was going to go for an engineering bay block, but he has a different plan in store altogether.
Double barracks opener right here for ByuN. Now Firefly is going to scout. He will see the timing of this barracks, and everything seems a-okay. He's going to need to get some more vision if he wants to find out exactly what it is that his Terran opponent is going for. You bring up a good point, though. Generally speaking, the way we find out how good a player truly is by seeing the play at an offline tournament, right? When you're playing from home, it is an entirely different game than when you're playing at a stage, and Firefly does look solid. Yeah,
okay, so I don't know if ByuN did his prep work or whatever, but that probe did not go into the base. It also sees that, hey, wait a minute, you've got this SCV down here, but this is later than normal if you're just going for a regular 1-Rax expand. So if Firefly is truly on his senses, if he was playing in the comfort of his own home right now, he'd probably be having red flag, an alarm going on, but holy crap, this is a blast from the past. I remember a player a long, long time ago called Maka, and this was the Maka Rax indeed, and already, this is the kind of play that can really throw you off your opponent. And is it one of the best builds out there? I'd go ahead and say absolutely not. But when you are welding so much experience like ByuN and you're against a fairly newcomer like Firefly, this is the kind of build that can really get a series going.
Yeah, well, Maka Rexes are, I want to say, literally from like 2011 or so, right? I don't really know exactly.
Back when I had hair, Loco, a long, long time ago.
Yeah, but how familiar is Firefly with strategies like this? This is one of those curveballs that you can throw when you, well, know that your opponent may have a certain weakness. It's a Twilight Council at the front right here as well for Firefly, so at the very least, you will have the semblance of a wall off, but when exactly is ByuN going to attack?
I mean, honestly, this kind of attack, I've been testing out the proxy marauders recently myself, but it's always been with 2, and already we have an adept that's greeted by a few marines, but then it's like, oh, wait a minute, marauders turned up, and you can see that he is not prepared for this in the slightest, and rightfully so. This is really weird what he's doing, and already probes are pulled, concussive shells is shown, and already bleeding out quite a few probes. This is not what the Chinese player was looking for.
Now this is of course quite the commitment right here for ByuN, so he needs to get something done with this push. The question is, when exactly is an attack like this justified? The bunker of course is not going to finish, just mostly there to draw some power. Now the Marines have joined in as well, the Adept has come all the way back home. Not that many workers have gone down yet though.
No, and for all intents and purposes, ByuN's not really been SCVing behind this. I mean, this is rough though, he loses this last Stalker, that is brutal. I don't think, is the gateway even powered? No!
Oh my god.
And wow, that is one way to bring the heat. And, you know, this is the kind of thing that can really separate the veterans from, I don't want to say the amateurs, but the newcomers, you know? It's like, welcome to the stage, this is how we do it over here. And Firefly is just like, man, I really should have, if I went into the base, I'd have seen that it's not like a double gas opening. If I stayed around, did I know that it was a CC? Because there was a CC. It did go up, but ByuN didn't really use it at all.
Yeah. Now, this is one of those build orders that now makes ByuN look very, very smart, but obviously if it got scouted and if Firefly figured this out, it could have fallen easily on its face. Right now, though, ByuN is already 1-0 ahead, and I mean, I always kind of like to look at the faces of the players in between the games. It kind of looks to me that ByuN has another tricky game up his sleeve, man. Like, he's not even smiling here. This does not seem like a completed series to him yet.
No, I mean, this was just so damn unfortunate. That pylon as well, you see it going up there, it would have powered the shield battery, but not the gateway. It's just like, oh, goodness. But you look at the SCV count at the bottom. I mean, this was very, very committed by ByuN, but ByuN, he's like, you know what? I'm going to save my wrist today in this series so far. Let's make it quick. Let's make it easy. Let's bring the pressure.
Yeah, ByuN, of course, historically has had some wrist issues, especially in long tournament days, like, for example, the one that we have here today. Maybe he's feeling the heat a little bit, or maybe he's just a bit concerned that it could be something that starts acting up. Ending the series as quickly as possible may be a solution for that. Now, of course, we're just speculating here, but certainly a very aggressive game number 1 right here for ByuN. And there are quite a few cheesy openers you can go for as Terran, of course. This is not the one we normally see, but maybe he's got something else spicy prepared right now for Oceanborn, as that is going to be game number 2 in his best of 3 series. Spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, it's ByuN.
And spawning over in the bottom right, as the blue toss, it is Firefly. And we've got to remember where both these players are in the group stage as well. I mean, ByuN is off to a flying start. He has yet to play Serral in the group, but that's most likely going to be the decider for who finishes first in the group. And I mean, definitely going to be one of the hardest matches for him. Absolutely is the hardest match for him, rather. Yep. Firefly just came off a pretty, I want to say, a bit of a rough defeat to Australia. Started off 1-0, but then ended up losing 2-1. And I am very curious about what ByuN is going to throw at him this game, because Firefly, when I've seen him play this matchup, he's very good when he gets to play his game, when he shows his prep, when he does his thing. But that game, he didn't even get started, and I love that from ByuN, because already one of the easiest wins of his life. But what's he going to do here? He's resorting to something where he's not scouting with an SCV, and it's only 1 gas, so 1 gas expands, something far more normal. Makes me think that ByuN's come in very, very prepared.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. Firefly is scouting around his natural expansion, sending that probe nice and early towards the other side of the map just to make sure that everything indeed is normal. Now, you brought up the timing of that command center. This time around, it will go down at the conventional timing. Firefly needs to be paying attention to that. When you go into autopilot, right, in StarCraft II, it works really well when your opponent is playing standard strategies, but you really have to pay attention to the details. Those couple last percentage points of progress, they make all the difference at this level of StarCraft II. And I think Firefly went across the map. He's like, yep, there's a barracks, there's a unit coming, there's a command center, everything is A-okay. And he did not quite account for the fact that 150 minerals were missing there for ByuN.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea if the trick worked necessarily the game before, but this time he gets full-on confirmation. The probe sticks around just to see what pops out the barracks first, whether a Reaper. But I also like this build in a sense that ByuN kind of makes it look like it's a very similar build to game 1.
Yep.
And you can see that from Firefly, where he's like, you know what? I'm not going to head straight back home. I'm going to check this corner as well, this little nook, because he's following up with a very similar build to what he was doing that game. But look at ByuN. He has shifted gears entirely. 3 CC off 1 gas. So from a from a hyper-aggressive game in game 1 to, oh my god, mega greedy.
I can imagine that Firefly does a lot of his practice by playing ladder games, right? And these 2 builds that we're seeing right here in this series, they are not ladder builds. These are not strategies you'll be playing against people that you randomize on the ladder. So, Firefly, how much practice do you have against a Terran opener like this one? So, the advantage of a super quick 3rd command center like the one that ByuN is going for is that any sort of timing attack he is going to follow this up with is going to hit just a little bit harder, right? A couple of additional units make all the difference at this level, and, well, is Firefly going to be prepared against a timing attack that will have a handful more Marines?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Firefly's doing in this game. Like, 4-gate Blinkstalker is kind of not bad against anything, and it really is down to the Terran, how well they've built up, how well they defend. One good thing for Firefly with this is the fact that he is going up against a very greedy build that isn't going to have tanks to defend. And ByuN...
Ooh, he cancels one of the gateways.
Oh, okay. I guess he was just using that as a wall-off just to make sure that, you know, if something was to come like Hellions or something, he wouldn't be caught off guard. But still, 3 gates on the map, Blink very much on the way as well. He can still do a lot of aggression, but after a game like that, game 1, some of your first game... it's on the stage kind of thing, it's got to have you a little bit paranoid.
As we move into the first-person view right here of Firefly, this is what he is looking at whilst playing the game. He's prepared against a Widow Mine drop, against any unit that could be coming in right now. Thinking about making a 3rd Nexus. He has no idea what he's playing against, but this is a nice scout. Sees a lot of additional Marines and also that 3rd command center right now. It'll likely come at the cost of that depth, but this is critical information.
I'm actually a little bit sad that I didn't get to see ByuN's webcam there, because leaving that depot open...
Oh, he even gets it out.
Yeah, leaving that depot open open was a massive deal, because getting to see, I know, I don't know whether ByuN was looking like that before, but he didn't look super happy on that webcam, a little bit stressed out, because allowing all that information to be seen, now Firefly knows that he can just go across the map and start poking at him, and this is exactly the kind of game that Firefly wants to be in.
Yep, he's got Blink, he's got 3 gateways, he's got a 3rd Nexus coming.
Oh, what?
He wants to bypass this? Very aggressive Blink forward, gets into the main base, passing that bunker by. There are no siege tanks anywhere. Stimpec is not done yet.
This is actually very crazy. I didn't expect him to blink past it like that. And I mean, so far, he's sort of getting away with it. This is nice blink micro. And I mean, he can go back to the front, but remember, this does not have a warp prism to reinforce.
Yeah.
And those are all extremely wounded stalkers. I think that was a bit too aggressive. Sometimes that is one of the things that blink boys do. They get way too eager with those stalkers. I don't think that was entirely necessary. And given they're bruised up, +1 is finishing up, combat shields as well, it's going to be so much bio coming out.
Taking a bit of a tour right there of the Terran's base. Maybe if he had a prism already over there, it would have been nice. An aggressive move once again, though. This time around, yeah, the Stimpec upgrade is done. Going to kill like 3 or 5 stalkers.
It's a solid amount of stalkers dying there, and you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's what ByuN kind of went with there, and that is a lot of damage done, because that is a quick stim. All right, Concussive Shell coming online. I mean, that's a fast +1 as well with this. He was very much about getting the engineering bay online, even before the factory, I think, with this build. Going to have Medevacs joining the field too, going up to a 4th and 5th barracks already. He's going to have so much bio out, and you can really see that Firefly's gearing up. He's trying to get a lot of gateways up, going for charge upgrades as well, not really going for the Robotech. So 5 gateways, wow.
Yeah.
Blasting away.
He's just looking to build up as many of these Protoss units as possible. The 3rd Nexus has been underway for a little while, but if you compare it to the amount of workers that the Terran has, this is not bad for ByuN whatsoever. Gonna have to transfer a couple of those SCVs on over towards that 3rd base location, but that ByuN economy is off to a flying start. Firefly trying to slow it down, loses a few more Stalkers in the process. And this is looking rough, right? He knows that there will be an attack at some point in this game. And you need so many troops. We can go for a 4th Nexus, sure, but it's going to make that push so difficult to hold.
I mean, ByuN's done very good with very little. He's been seeing when the blinks are going off, and he's like, all right, you're sticking around for way too long. Catching him when the cooldowns are off, and even here, like, technically, if you're playing a perfect game, you don't lose any of these stalkers, and 12 have gone down.
That's the Observer there as well, which just rubs salt in the wound, because Firefly is going to have to, either replace it or make an immortal right now. Don't lose the Prism. At least don't lose the Prism.
I mean, that's a big deal for ByuN. Getting to see that a Prism is on the map, like, that's a big call that your opponent's going to try and slow you down, because he doesn't want you to come across the map. And ByuN, he'll absolutely read into that and be like, oh, you don't want me to come across the map? But he's going to get a few turrets up as well to deny that. But honestly, 69 SCVs, that's a lot of turrets. You can really tell that he doesn't want to be dealing with that because he wants to go. But it is going to be a Ghost Academy coming online for him before the Armory. That is the true standard of Terran versus Protoss these days. And look at that supply loco. It's just ever growing for the Terran. And I don't think there's any splash on the field at all.
No, and that bio ball is just growing, right? Without any sort of splash, it's going to be very difficult to deal with it. Firefly probably anticipating the attack a little bit earlier, too. Does he have a Robo Bay? I don't think so, right? No, he's just stuck with the units that he's currently got. It's going to just be Zealots and Stalkers here for the foreseeable future. Bio moving across the map right now, though. ByuN trying to send everything out. He does not return back home. Instead, we're going to go for the base race.
I tell you what, I actually like this move by Firefly. He can't beat the army, so he's not going to fight it. Goes into the base, but oh, that's a lot of friendly fire damage. I mean, this is going to get close, but ByuN's army is so big across the other side of the map, and I mean, that Terran army will kill your base so damn quickly. And Stalkers, they're great nimble units, but they do not have the same DPS as this bio. I think this is a very rough situation despite 40 SCVs going down. ByuN still mustering a pretty decent army in his main base.
Yeah, absolutely. The reinforcing units here for ByuN seem to be enough to deal with pretty much the entire army of Firefly so far. Obviously, he can recall if he really wants to, but that's still such a dangerous move. Might be worth reminding that the win condition in a game of StarCraft II is to kill your opponent's structures. So technically, Firefly never has to deal with that army that is currently in his main base. But obviously, Terran structures can fly as well, right? How in the world are you ever gonna win a true one-to-one base race?
I like what ByuN's doing here. He's like securing his main. He's like, all right, this is getting a bit out of control. Oh, okay, I was about to say, I don't think he should be lifting that. I liked him holding the top of the ramp.
ByuN, okay, he loves loading up med effects, but that was a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, Firefly committed all his warp ins to all the aggression, so it wasn't about defending. He knew he couldn't defend, so I liked his choice here, because every choice feels like a bad one in this case, and he's doing some good micro here, good blink, good warp prism pickups actually, but is there just too much? I mean, even if he clears all this up, Loco, I think dealing with that other army on the other side of the map, he's going to have to hope for one of these floating games, isn't he? But even then, it's ByuN can possibly get the draw, even if it goes really bad for him. They're both microing so well over here.
Oh, he does get one of the medevexes. All of these units here for ByuN are actually super critical. Firefly is microing his heart out. All of the barracks and structures that ByuN has been producing out of are leaving. There's a Nexus built as well in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. That one ByuN is not yet aware of. The structures from your opponent get revealed if you end up killing, in this game, either all the command centers or all the Nexi. Firefly running the probes up north to maybe distract ByuN. Don't show him where that Nexus is. Okay, that would not be ideal. Okay, he's just going to send the probes over exactly where that base is located.
This is getting very spicy. I mean, there's still Widow Mines on the field.
Taking the natural of ByuN.
I mean, I like it, but it is in vision. Like, it's all shown. I mean, maybe Firefly's plan is, all right, if I can get some shield batteries up and running, maybe there's a chance.
He doesn't have recall. I thought maybe he was thinking about recalling the probes that are currently in the natural of ByuN and to try and bait his army back home, continue mining in the bottom left, but he does not have recall available.
I mean, did ByuN spot these probes running south with minerals? I don't know.
I think he did. I think he did.
This is getting really weird. Really, really wild. And, okay, so he's trying to get a 4-ship to cannons. It feels like he's trying to get into a position where he can do, like, one last stand with cannons and all that jazz. He needs to get a cancel. Does get it in time as well. But Blink Stalkers can be a real nightmare in these situations. But ByuN trying to get units out, I mean... Oh, man.
They need pylons and supply depots, right? We have 0 SCVs remaining for ByuN, so he can mine all he wants, but he's going to have to lose some troops before he can ultimately make an SCV again. It's all a little bit tricky, and ByuN's not entirely sure what's going on. Every stim, by the way, right now is quite pricey, too.
It certainly is. He can also wait for, like, supply drops, right? He's still got depots alive, but here, fighting up the ramp, there's so much fire, though, so much firepower. I don't think Firefly can do it here. I mean, there's so much Terran, and oh, poor Firefly. He didn't really get to showcase what he was truly made of. Some magic with the blinks, but GG. ByuN. A very, very easy game 1, but game 2, Firefly started to make him sweat a little bit there.
Absolutely. Ultimately, that bio army of his, though, was just a bit too big, right? His economy was off to a flying start in his match, and that carried him this entire time. It got a little bit shaky because he didn't know about that Nexus at the bottom section of the map. I don't think he found out about it, or maybe near the end of the match. Either way, the man ends up winning this series 2-0. And even though he may have been the favorite, you can see that he was not gonna take this game lightly.
No, absolutely not. And I love the fact that he brought out a blast from the past like this. This is something that he played during that era of Maka. He was on Prime with Maka, you know. Back then, I think he might have been playing Protoss, but...
Prime?
Yeah, it was Prime.
I remember Maka Prime, but I didn't realize ByuN was on Prime as well.
Yeah, he absolutely was. He was, for a while, he was called, like... oh, was it like Ghost Prime? It was
did he rename his account at some point?
Yeah, absolutely, and he played Protoss back in the day as well. But yeah, this was very cool to see. I love it when you have prep like that going online. And yeah, ByuN, honestly, well-deserved 4-0 in this group, and he's very, very safely secured himself to the next stage. As to where he's going to be finishing first, second, we'll find out tomorrow.
Really cool game number 2 here, of course, as well. Firefly cleverly forcing the base race here, but that's mostly because he didn't really have much of another choice. His army was just not big enough. He didn't have any splash damage. I think there was one Immortal at some point, but don't even know if he ever had it on camera. That one probably got sniped immediately. Ultimately, ByuN, he had to find this army, right? But he got there eventually.
Absolutely did. Rachel, take it away.
Thank you so much.